everyone to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
And with us here, as always, or I guess with us here, new addition to the team, Son X. Son X, how are you doing this fine Thursday evening?
I'm doing well.
Today, we're going to have to ask Son X to have a much bigger performance than ever asked before. As you can tell, Grumpy looks a little under the weather still. So we had to corral Grump into going on to the show tonight. But for those of you who are new to the podcast, this is a twice a week all sports show where we talk anything sports. On Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. Come on in, sit on down, and let your hair on down. What do you say? Come on in, sit right down, baby, let your hair hang down. That's what it's like, Grumpy. So we invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter.
I've never heard that before.
I feel like it was like an ad or like a commercial, TV commercial. Anyway, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you again, as I mentioned, subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter.
Why do you want to like it on Facebook and subscribe?
You got to like it. Number one, it helps the algorithm. It helps get mine, the Grumpy Old Man, and Son X's word out to the masses. That's for certain. So make sure that's imperative. Now, that being said, I don't know if there's going to be a show this Sunday. Now, we were able to rope the Grumpy Old Man into coming on tonight just because, last Sunday was the Super Bowl. We had the week off before. So I don't know. Grumpy's going to have his, what are you going to have, your Jordan performance, Grumpy, with the flu over here, except you've got COVID. You're going to have your Jordan performance, Grump, tonight, and you might need Sunday off.
Look at the partners I have. It's like playing, whatever.
He's about to drop 72 facts and 23 TJs and morons.
Oh, Grumpy over there. He's just, I guess, going to be taking it on Easy Street today. But today there's a lot to talk about. We didn't have a chance to talk since our last show. I know we did the Super Bowl and covered the Super Bowl. We didn't have a chance to talk about the NBA trade deadline, a little bit about NHL playoff picture, a little about, I guess, the ending of the Super Bowl. I guess we could talk about that. We'll talk about some guys on the move. The trade rumors already circling. So, there's a lot to talk about here today, as always. But, I think the first topic of discussion, we could start it off with a little bit of baseball. Now, this year, windups and the rule of a balk has changed. And Son X used to play, so I want to get his opinion. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but the rules of a balk has changed. Now, you may be familiar. Luis Garcia has a very unique pitching style. He kind of does this rock item, and I'll show it to you here on screen. But his pitching style and the way he goes ahead and approaches, with nobody on base or with people on base, is considered a balk. I'll let you watch this here. It was loud. But this, under the new rules of a balk, would be considered a balk here going forward.
Good. It should be a balk.
It's an obvious, blatant attempt to try and deceive runners. That's what it is. That's all he's doing.
Really?
Yes.
You think that's a balk?
He's lifting
towards third base.
He's lifting his front leg up 2 or 3 times. I mean, I even watched last year. I was watching. I'm like, that shit's a balk. I don't know what. I mean, look at
literally tippy tapping on the mound.
Yeah, it's like, what the? I mean, look, his back foot is going up and down off the rubber.
Absolutely, it's a balk.
He's just rocking around. Some pitchers are pitching like that these days, where they kind of rock around.
Thank goodness.
It shouldn't be. It's killing the sport.
Everything else is killing.
That's what's killing the sport, Son X?
Yeah. Yes, when you're up there taking 5-6 minutes between pitches, absolutely, it's unwatchable.
Well, I wonder if they're going to roll out maybe one day that pitch clock in the MLB. They've done it for quite some time now in the minors. It does, keep the game moving at least somewhat quick. But I wonder how long before they implement something like that in the MLB.
I don't know. Here's the thing. They're having a bunch of changes. I don't understand changing the game. there's so many other reasons why the game sucks right now, and it's interminable to watch. And it has nothing to do with the base size and, illegal shifts. I'm sorry. Shifts have been going on since the beginning of time. Just the hitters don't want to adapt to what the defense puts out there. So,
they always want to pull the ball, hit it as hard as they possibly can.
So just like all the millennials in this world now, let's make it easy for them. Let's not have them have to adapt to anything. No, don't worry. We'll change the rules to make it easier for you because that's the only way you can do things. No.
I think what they should start doing is they shouldn't allow anybody to take a lead off. I think you're at least 1 foot needs to be on the base if you're going to steal, right? You can bring it back like it is.
Back to miners days.
Bring it back to machine
Little league.
You can't go ahead and do this. You can't take more than one base at a time.
You're gonna break out the machine and have it start pitching to him.
Obviously we're being a little hyperbolic, but there's a lot of reasons that the sport continues to die. Banning the shift, my gosh. I mean, like the umps are awful. Angel Hernandez, I know, like we talk about reasons it dies. He's almost like a common like talking point. You laugh at how bad Angel Hernandez is as an umpire.
What happened to the old saying, hit them where they ain't?
People don't want to do that because, well, hell, if I can pull it and I can knock this one out of the park, that's going to help me in next contract negotiations.
It's all because of analytics. Everything's analytics driven. Everything. And it's ruined the game. Analytics and the nerds have ruined baseball.
It's funny because I was watching and I talked about it. We went to the bookstore. I went to the bookstore this last Sunday and I was looking at the prospects. I was like, oh, great. Let me read up on some Mets prospects, the prospects in the NL. And the sport has headed in the wrong direction where in prospect breakdown, they're talking, well, Francisco Alvarez, his average launch velocity and his average trajectory off his hits are this and that, and they're just throwing a whole bunch of analytic bullshit at us. I'm like, my God. Ugh. You're right. It's led to the death, and I think that the further people just clicking off watching MLB games.
Yes, I agree.
I also think the fact that the games take so long to play as well. It's like, who's going to sit there and watch a game for 4 hours, 5 hours? It's just not going to happen.
I almost imagine it kind of like people who listen to podcasts where it's like I put it on and I watch the game while I'm doing something else. You can't sit there and say, I'm going to watch 4 hours of this. I mean, you do it and you do things in the background. And you're like, hold on, what just happened? And you go and say, holy shit, Carlos Beltran just hit a homer. Obviously, Beltran's been gone for a long time. But, that's what you do. Or like Pete Alonso just smacked one out of the park. I don't see people who sit down and watch 162 games every single inning like other sports. You just can't do it.
I just like how you strike out 200, 250 times a year. Well, that's okay because he hit 30 home runs. No. I mean, you were abominable. If you struck out over 100 times, like, holy crap, this guy sucks. That's what it used to be back in the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s. Now it's like, well, I've said it before, right? Over a third of every at-bat ends in a strikeout, a walk, or a home run.
When do you think they shorten the fields for more home runs?
Yeah. They figured, well, hey, you know what? We don't care about pitching. It's all about launch angle and everyone's uppercutting, trying to hit home runs. Chicks love the long ball, right? Remember that? Well, you guys probably don't remember that. That was an ad campaign for Major League Baseball back. Chicks love the long ball, hitting home runs.
And it's funny you bring up there, when are they going to start maybe changing and shortening the fields? Think about that. Back in the old days, I'll let you speak on this because back in my day, but back in the old days, the parks used to be a lot longer to center and a lot longer to left and right. And the fields, if you look at them over the last century, have kind of gotten shorter.
Yankee Stadium used to be like 461 feet to center field. Left center was 454. They had the short right field porch, but the Polo Grounds was like 521 foot to center field. It was just, it was just different. It was just different. You hit a home run, you earned it. That's why Willie Mays, I won't say he doesn't get his due for being a great player because he does, but he had 660 career home runs, but he played in the Polo Grounds and then he played in Candlestick Park with the wind blowing in. I mean, he was tremendous, 5-tool player, just tremendous. Oh, here you go. Are you even allowed to show this anymore? Chicks dig the long ball. We're not going to get canceled for that because we say chicks. Oh, there they are, though. They're digging that long ball.
Look at Glavin.
Hey,
Yep.
we got Cy Young winners over here. Come on, Alice.
They were actually pretty good hitters, the Braves pitchers back in the day.
Oh, yeah, Tom Glavin could hit.
Maddox, Smoltz.
Step into it. Yeah.
Hi, Tom.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Oh my God, Glavin.
Little Nike commercial.
What would Nike do today?
You see Mark.
What were you saying, Grump?
What do you think Nike would put out a commercial like this today?
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not is right. I mean, think about how they need a moment like Sosa and McGuire to help save this sport. They really do. They need to find a way.
Or Bonds.
But
No, they
need
don't.
something like that.
They
But
had Aaron Judge last year. He didn't save the sport. They need to have a pitcher come out. A couple of pitchers come out who just throw shutouts game after game. Balance it out. Look at the scores of the games. ERAs now. You have an ERA under 5. Oh boy, you're good.
Well, it's funny you talk about that. Like an ERA in the 3s is like, oh, he's one of the best ERA guys out there in the MLB. I'm like, shit. I mean, take the clock back 10 years ago or 15 years ago. A good ERA was in the 2s, and the 3s is like, yeah, okay, you're kind of average. Anything above a 3, you're like, oh shit. Either you're pitching the AL or you're just not a good pitcher. But now it's completely changed. You're right, because hey, in the 3s or even in the 4s, well, that's doable. Ugh. Your game completely changed. The game's changed. Let me ask you this. What are you looking forward to in this year's MLB season as pitchers and catchers reported?
Young players coming up and playing. There's a lot of young dynamic players. That's what I'm interested to see.
You ready to start to see the changing of the guard?
I think we've already started to see it. I mean, right? Look at all the young shortstops in the game now. Look at, the young outfielders. Not pitching. There's a couple of good pitchers out there, but it's all the young hitters, young shortstops.
Like, and you look at it, right? There is reason, like the Baltimore Orioles. You look at how many young. I feel like I always say that about Baltimore. Though it's like, oh, look how many great young prospects they have. This prospect and that prospect, but Baltimore can never really seem to ever tie it all together, if you know what I mean.
True.
I mean, who the hell was the guy? And I'm going to always butcher his name. Well, Grayson Rodriguez was there, young guy there too.
He was hurt. He was hurt last year.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, he's a prospect that's up there for. I'm just thinking about Baltimore when I'm like, and Gunnar Henderson is a guy who always comes to the top of mind there when you talk about those Baltimore prospects. But you're right though. The young guys have to start entering, permeating their way through the league, and.
I think you've started to see that transition, though.
I'm excited for guys like Drew Jones, like Andrew Jones' kid, and Matt Holliday's kid, Jackson Holliday. Like those are the guys I'm starting to get excited for, to where it's like, and he's another guy, Jackson Holliday for the Orioles. But those are the guys I'm starting to get excited for because I'm like, I can remember watching Andrew Jones and Matt Holliday, where I'm like, okay, it's cool to see their kids, and that's I don't know, it gives a little extra nostalgia, I think, and a little extra purpose there to the game.
Means you're getting old.
Is that what it means, Grumpy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. I guess it does mean we're getting old. Anyway, we'll be talking more MLB as things start to heat up. But let's look at some comments here real quick. Frank saying, "What's up? How are you doing, Frank?" James F. Hey, we meet again. Hopefully, hey James. Hopefully you're doing well. Drew L said, "I saw TJ's been paying real close attention to the Giants lately. I think he wants to talk to some Danny defenders." Now, the rumor is the Giants might sign Daniel Jones back. He's expected to sign a contract worth $35 million for freaking Daniel Jones.
That's a mistake.
No.
That's a mistake.
I'm not sure how many years it's going to be tied to. And again, this was reported by Jordan Renan. He's the the ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Giants. It's like saying I'm the assistant vice president of this, that, and you start throwing a whole bunch of ridiculous things where it's hard to explain. He covers the Giants, long story short, for ESPN. But yes, the Giants, Daniel Jones, new contract is expected to be $35 million per year. I wonder how long they're going to sign him for.
That's a bad deal.
I think they made a mistake drafting him to begin with.
They made a mistake drafting him. They're going to make a mistake signing him. It's just, it's continuing to double down on the suck. He's not the answer at quarterback.
Okay.
Sure, have teams with poor quarterbacks won Super Bowls before? Yeah, look at the Giants with Eli Manning. Teams with subpar quarterbacks have, but this is not a guy who's even close to the Eli Manning level.
He had one good game last year against Minnesota in the playoffs.
Yep,
That's the best he's ever played in his career.
Yep.
And then he went back to turn back into a pumpkin the next week against the Eagles.
And it's funny, you talk about the Giants too, right? Barkley is going to sign a new deal. Apparently, belief is that Barkley's going to sign a new deal worth about $14 million per year. How long do you think the Giants are going to tie up Saquon Barkley?
5 years.
Okay. Here's the thing. On a 5-year contract, I wouldn't be opposed to that for Barkley. But I think they're going to give him maybe longer.
I mean, 5 years is probably too long, to be honest with you. I'd give him 5 years, 14. That's what I would do. I'm never giving a running back a secondary contract longer than 5 years. I mean, I like Saquon Barkley.
Had the ACL injury too. He's already injury prone.
And it's funny, right? We talk about never wanting to give that running back a long second contract or anything like that. Elliott, there's so many examples of running backs when they get that second contract, they're nowhere near as explosive and nowhere near as dangerous and successful as a running back, getting into their mid to late 20s. They just don't have enough tread on the tires because guys like Elliott, guys like Barkley were used and abused in college and high school, and the body can only take so many hits, right? This comment here, Ezekiel Elliott, agents of Ezekiel Elliott are going to figure out his value at the combine and then decide if they'll accept the restructured contract to stay in Dallas or refuse and be released and sign with some other team. So, because Tony Pollard is an unrestricted free agent.
Pollard is right now more valuable and a better player than Ezekiel Elliott.
Yep, absolutely he is. Elliott is kind of it's a 1A, 1B, and Pollard's 1A and Elliott's 1B.
Here's the thing. If I was the Cowboys, I just cut him.
And he's got no guaranteed money. He's got no guaranteed money remaining on his contract.
Draft somebody else and just move on from him. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and this is what I wanted to show you. He's got again, from NFL Live, note Elliott has no more guaranteed money left on his contract, and Pollard is a pending free agent. So no more guaranteed money. See you later. See you later, Zeke. Yep. Simple as that. I'm just not sure the value that Elliott really still has left.
Tony Pollard his numbers are good, but he's also benefited from being the change of pace guy.
Yes.
Because Zeke plays the first couple of downs and they bring him in. It's, so let's say he comes in, he's the lead dog. I wouldn't expect his numbers to be what they've been unless they bring somebody else in to play his role. It's different. He'd play a different role, so I wouldn't expect his numbers to be as good.
Here's the thing. Like you talk about it, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm releasing Elliott and I'm drafting a running back. You don't have to draft a running back, right? Elliott, what was Elliott? The 5th overall pick, or he was a top 5 pick, if I recall.
I think he was 4th overall.
Yeah. you can find running backs that are as serviceable and as successful late in the first round or early in the second round. And it's just like there's no need to do that anymore. And if you're the Cowboys, you could pick up a running back in the second. Again, I can't tell you exactly. I'm familiar with where their draft position. The damn the Super Bowl just ended. But if I'm the Cowboys, I'm in a spot where I'm looking and saying, hey, we're just going to draft a running back, and we'll still use Pollard as a change of pace guy, but we're going to rely upon a rookie as well to help carry the load.
True. That's what I would do. I mean, he's not even half the back he used to be, in my opinion, Elliot.
A guy like Bijan Robinson. I've always been I followed Bijan Robinson since when he was a high school recruit. Bijan Robinson, number one running back in this year's draft class, no doubt about it. You
Now,
can get a
here's the
guy like
thing.
Blake Corum. Did he wind up coming back? Did he elect to come back, or is he going pro?
No, Corum's returning to Michigan for his next year.
Okay, gotcha.
But here's the thing. Bijan Robinson, you look at him, where he's going to get – he's certainly more talented than where he's going to get drafted, because the valuation on running backs isn't what it used to be. So you're going to see him probably go in the late 20s.
And that's a guy who is legit. He is a guy who has the ability to be one of those top 10 running backs in the NFL for a time period.
And just based on his talent level, he should be going, like in the top 10 without a doubt.
Yeah.
Just for, just talent.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, you can get a guy like a Sean Tucker late. He's a guy where if it's like, hey, he's a north and south runner, he's a guy who's going to wear out defenses, and you could still have the change of pace guy be Tony Pollard. Tank Bigsby I can't remember if Tank Bigsby left, but he's another guy too, where when he came out, that's a guy who's got talent. I mean, he played for Auburn. That's a guy who has the ability as a mid, second, third, fourth round guy that, if selected, I can't remember if he's left yet or not, but I know he's a junior.
He's coming out, but everyone's saying he's like a fourth round pick.
And that's a guy who I think has value. That's a guy who could show it. That's a guy who I think struggled because of the turmoil there at Auburn. And that's a guy when he goes to the NFL where they're going to be like, what the hell? This fourth round pick became a fantastic running back. Tank Bigsby's always been a good running back. He's always been a good back. So, there are guys they can get, and they can get them cheaper, more cost effective, with more tread on the tires than Ezekiel Elliott. Goodbye. See ya. Don't want to spend too much more time on that, but just wanted to mention it. I thought that was odd. Now, this is something also we want to mention. The no trade clause on DeAndre Hopkins' contract was voided due to the 6-game PED suspension last year. Now, apparently, he is going to be moved. I've heard the Titans are in on a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, and there's a lot of teams that are calling on DeAndre Hopkins.
Good player. Why would Arizona want to move him? That's my question.
He's had issues with Murray already.
Really?
Yeah. They were arguing on the sidelines earlier this year.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
There. That's a big loss for the Cardinals.
They didn't play a whole lot together because he missed the first 6 games, and then Murray missed the last however many with his knee injury. It's not like they played together a lot.
Yeah, I just know they showed a clip of him on the sidelines, and he's like, "One, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? Open your eyes, I'm open," just like barking at him and stuff like that. So it did not seem like they had the best chemistry. That's all I'll say.
I didn't know that. I tell you one thing. That's severely. You talk about a big hit to the Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins, when healthy, he's still one of those guys who's a top 10 wideout in the NFL. And I know, like we talk about, wideouts sometimes can fall off quick and in a hurry. Look at what Michael Thomas, right? 2 injuries in a row. Michael Thomas, before his injuries, was a top 5 wide receiver for the Saints, top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. And now I'd say, right, his status is probably where it's like he's mid-30s. He's a guy who's like a tail end as a number 1, probably a number 2 on a good team.
He's not a number 1 wide receiver anymore.
On a bad team, he is. On a good team, he's a number 2.
He can't even stay on the field. He can't even stay on the field.
He dislocated both toes back-to-back years. Don't ask me how the hell that happens.
He's been hurt the last 3 years. He's done. His career's over.
Don't say that about Michael Thomas, Grump.
Finished.
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins is a guy who's been a little banged up. So,
True.
You just kind of worry about how quickly
Not
he
really.
falls off.
Not really. He was good last year, even at the end of the year playing with the garbage quarterbacks they had. After Murray went down, he was still getting his catches.
Well, he always does. He's the number one wideout on that team.
And he's good. He's really good.
He played, how many games did DeAndre Hopkins play last year? I know he missed 6 games due to PEDs.
10?
You want to
Maybe
play
10
9.
games?
He missed a
9?
few games. Yeah. And he played 10 the year before. That's a guy who's 30 years old as a wide receiver.
Yep. He still play though. You put him with a good quarterback, I think you're going to see good numbers from him.
I just wonder how much he's got left in the tank. You know what I mean? You see more often, like, think about guys who were really dominant, like your AJ Greens, like your Julio Jones. It's just like that they fell off too. They were guys who were top 5, top 10 receivers in the NFL, and it's like, okay, they missed some time here. Okay, an injury picked up here, and then they just become an afterthought because, you know, you look at how quickly the new guys like the Justin Jeffersons, like the Jamar Chases come in, and they just light the world on
They have the
fire. And those
speed.
guys who were the top just kind of get moved to the back burner.
I think it has to do with the speed.
Yeah.
These kids
Speed
come
wins.
in, they got fresh legs, not many injuries to their career, and the older guys take some hits, they lose a step, and they're just not the same.
He can
Especially
still
the way games played now, it's all get separation, go deep, throw a bomb.
Yep.
he can still get open. He still gets open. I'm not writing him off until he shows that he can't play.
I'm just saying, no, I'm not saying he's going to fall off to next year. I'm just saying that's a guy who doesn't have a lot of time left, right?
True.
As a top guy.
Yeah.
I just maybe 1-2 years left, and then he's going to be just like all the other top wide receivers. You just don't see them lasting 32, 33, 34, etc. I mean, like the Larry Fitzgerald situations are more few and far between now than they had been in the past. You don't see guys playing at a high level like Larry Fitzgerald, like Hines Ward. You don't see guys like in their early to mid 30s as wide receivers still playing at a high level anymore. You just don't see that.
You really haven't ever anyway.
I don't know.
Randy Moss, Marvin Harrison.
I don't know about that, Grump.
All right, you're talking about the elite of the elite.
Well, guys like DeAndre Hopkins was the elite of the elite. Guys like AJ Green and guys like Julio Jones at the time period were the elite of the elite. That's my point.
Injuries, but the injuries is what got Green and
wide receivers are getting injured more frequently. The hamstring injuries are more prevalent in today's game than they were in the past because there's more of a focus on speed, getting deep, and being able to create separation. That's what it all is. It's not on, hey, make sure you're running unbelievably crisp routes and getting open and able to move the ball, dink and dunk the ball down the field. It's all, how can we get the ball 80 yards on this play for a touchdown?
Exactly. It's all long ball.
Think about this too. They throw the ball more often, so they run more routes. They run longer routes, so they bang up their hamstrings more often.
Okay.
I don't know. That's conspiracy theory time, I guess, but or maybe it'll become more accepted thought there after time. Drew said, if we're talking wide receivers and possibly the best one of the draft is to look for Zay Flowers. Fast, explosive, can run a good amount of routes. I'm not as high on anyone else but Flowers. And I hope the Giants get him at 25.
Wide receivers are what running backs used to be.
Yes.
It's like you used to have great running backs coming out 3, 4, 5, 6 every year because the way the college game was played. Now it's all wide receivers. And so, I mean, it's not even essential you pick one in the first round. I'm not saying you should never pick a wide receiver in the first round, but you're able to get a lot of value deeper in the draft because it's all about, guys getting open in the spread offense in college. And now you're seeing them that transition everything over to the pros.
I'll be honest with you. They are Zay Flowers. I'm sorry. Like from Boston College, Zay Flowers. Drew, I look at it like this. If a guy, right, Jordan Addison was injured and banged up this year. A guy like Jalen Hyatt got injured and banged up this year. Those are the type of guys as a late first-round pick the Giants should be targeting. Now, I don't think Jordan Addison's going to be there unless you trade up and get him, but maybe that's a guy who slips. He went to USC, didn't really do much. and gets banged up, and he's on the back burner. A guy like Jalen Hyatt had an extremely successful time period until he obviously tore his ACL. But that's a guy who maybe you can get a value player later in the draft. That's for a value pick, that's what you should be looking at. And where does that Jackson Smith kid from Ohio State go? There's talent around. It's can you identify the talent? Can you get the right selection? So I haven't done enough research yet and film study on these guys, but I'm somewhat familiar with it. Joseph, go ahead, Grump.
Mel Kiper, I saw an interview with him, and he thinks that this is not a really deep draft. He said usually there's like 120, 130 prospects who could be able to contribute to the NFL. He said this year he's having a hard time finding 80.
Wow.
And he says, he said you'll learn more at the combine with the individual testing. But
now it's funny you mentioned that. Now Todd McShay said he believes the Bears should trade Justin Fields and draft Bryce Young, and that's been catching more headwinds on social media. Oh, Bears should trade Justin Fields. They should go ahead and use that second overall pick to draft a quarterback.
They have the first overall pick.
I'm sorry, the first overall pick. I'm sorry, first overall pick to draft a quarterback, and that would be Bryce Young.
I would not pick Bryce Young.
Why not X?
I don't believe that there's many quarterbacks that have come out of Alabama that have been worth anything. I'd pick the Shroud kid from Ohio State.
Joe Namath was pretty good.
Okay, I'm talking recent.
Well, hold on. X Tua Tagovailoa has been extremely successful in the NFL.
What's he won?
He's won the most injured, most concussed,
most concussion award,
most concussion protocol awards. All joking aside, I think that dude, Bryce Young's just too small. I don't think you have to worry as much about the fragility of a guy like that compared to Tua. But I will say I'm more on. It's going to be interesting to see how the guys throw at the combine and on pro day. I would put Stroud a little ahead of Bryce Young.
Stroud's a better physical. He's more prototypical. Has the size that NFL teams are looking for. Bryce Young's small.
Yep. I saw rumors, hey, Justin Fields going to get traded to the Carolina Panthers. And I'm like, my God, if the Panthers were to do something I don't think Justin Fields is the answer. I don't. I think he's way too heavily reliant upon his legs to be successful at this point early on in his career. Does he have weapons? No. So maybe that plays a part. Does he have the offensive line? No. So, right, I'm willing to hedge my bets that maybe the pieces around him aren't doing the trick, but Justin Fields is another one of those guys you look at it and you think, okay, I didn't see the progression.
He's also had two different head coaches, two different offensive coordinators his first 2 years. Yep. I'm not saying that he's great, but I think it's a little early to call him a bust.
No, I'm not going to label him as bust. I'm just not sure he's the answer yet.
But I don't think he's developed like he should.
Correct. That's my point too. You look at the terrible situation a guy like Trevor Lawrence was in, and how much things completely changed around with the right cast and crew and characters. Right, that it's possible, but he also developed, right, and you could see the development there. If he was still, let's say Urban Meyer was still head coach and things were still tumultuous there, I don't expect you wouldn't have seen the same development he had this season, but you could see there were signs all along. I think Fields is just way too ready to, as soon as he gets, hey, I'm going to run. I could do this with my legs.
Well,
it's not a long-term recipe for success.
They changed their offense like a third of the way into the season to implement him running the ball a lot more. That was what their offense was. Yep. They didn't have any weapons for him to throw the ball to. The Bears are bad. They're just a bad team. No offensive line, no weapons,
no running backs, no wide receivers, decent tight end, but no wide outs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you expect
for who the hell that guy from Pittsburgh, Clay Chase-Pool, they traded for from Pittsburgh. But it's like Chase Claypool, I'm sorry. But it's like, yikes, that's not the answer either.
And they gave up a second-round pick for him, and he sucks.
I thought it was a late first, or was it a second?
It was a second. I mean,
it was the second overall pick, so it's like a late first, second.
But I mean, it's just, you wonder why he's not good. Look what they do. They're just a bad organization right now.
Poorly run. It's tough to be a good quarterback in Chicago. So we talk about tough places to play. New York's a tough place to play. Chicago's a tough place to play. There's just certain places that are tough to play as a QB. I would imagine Green Bay's a tough, right? You look at the last two quarterbacks, right? Favre, Rodgers, both fantastic talents, but I would assume Green Bay's a tough place to play as a quarterback too.
I don't know about that.
Just more talking about, think about how many months of the year where it's just cold like that. You got to have an unbelievably strong arm to hit those targets when it's cold like that.
Yeah, well, okay, but I don't think Fields has a strong arm. I think the fans are they're understanding there in Green Bay. Green Bay's always had good quarterbacks throughout their history. They have.
Or even yeah. But yeah, Fields, Chicago. But yeah, I did want to bring that up. One more item. Calvin Ridley applied to be reinstated to the NFL here today. He did get that year-long suspension last year for gambling and biting on his team when he was injured and away from activities, but he did go ahead and apply for reinstatement. I hope he gets it, is what they're saying. So I didn't even know it was a possibility that he wouldn't get reinstated or they have to review that. I thought it was pretty much after the year he's good to go, but I guess not.
Yeah, the NFL in bed with gambling, and they're going to just so hypocritical.
And I think that's a good tweet. And I'm sorry, it's so small. But Darius Slay says, just been on my mind lately. The NFL is suspending Calvin Ridley for a whole year, but dude's out here beating up females and getting suspended only 6 games. It's not wrong. You could go ahead and you could beat a lady. You can go ahead and do whatever you want. 6-game suspension. Performance enhancing drugs, 6-game suspension. But gamble and bet on your team to win, a year-long suspension. That's unfortunate.
All right. I understand where the gambling thing comes in, where you could possibly throw a game, but the NFL is in bed with gambling. I mean,
Yes.
So, that's the hypocrisy of the whole thing. And particularly after the Super Bowl, how that played out.
What are you talking about, Grumpy? What do you mean? What happened in the Super Bowl?
They're bribing the refs.
I'm not saying they bribed the refs, but I mean, that last penalty was just egregious. Not that, and here's the thing, it was ticky-tack. I just love how everyone come out in force. Everyone comes out in force saying, oh, that's a penalty. Look at this. They slow-mo it. They stop it with his hand on his hip. Stop. Run that thing in regular motion and tell me that's a penalty. That shit happens throughout every game, all game long, and never gets called. They didn't call it in the game Sunday until then. A cornerback or any defensive player, they know what they can get away with as how the game is being called the whole game. And then in the last minute, you're changing the way you're calling the game.
Yeah, the last 2 minutes, it just makes no sense.
I'm sorry,
but
wrong.
Grump, even the cornerback admitted that he held.
Yeah, it looked like a hostage situation.
They had him, his kids, his brother, his mother out there. Look at this shit. And this is what I mean. Like, this type of nonsense that people just say, oh, yeah, NFL could do no wrong. They never would do anything wrong. They've never made mistakes. NFL Films gets a perfect shot of the hold on Juju Smith-Schuster. Let's watch this perfect shot. Let's watch this here, Grumpy. You'll get a kick out of this, Grump and X. Oh, look at that. He's holding on to him. Look at that. So we put a little bit of a hold on to him. But, hey, we cut away from that.
But see what they do? They stop it. They slow-mo it. That's every single play. That's every single play.
It also looked like he wasn't even 5 yards.
Oh, well, I mean, look at that. It looks like holding on the defensive tackle there.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Supposed to be inside the
you
body?
can watch. There was not a single offensive line. The offensive line on both teams didn't hold at all. Congratulations, offensive lineman. There was not a single time where an offensive lineman got beat and he did this, where he went ahead and reached on the backside of a guy's shoulder pads to hold him. That didn't happen once all game. And it didn't happen once all game that a linebacker or another corner put his hands and happened to grab a breastplate of another guy. That didn't happen once all game. That was the crazy part about it. It only happened right there at the last 2 minutes of the game, which just happened to coincidentally coincide with the ability to drag out that game to give Mahomes another victory. It's just a load of shit. God damn it. I wasn't going to talk, but it's a load of shit. It's a crock of shit, the whole thing.
I'm a big believer in letting the guys play, and I thought that they did let them play pretty
All
much. The whole,
game.
they let them play, and then to call that at the end, I just thought
Fishy.
that was it's
It was
just
a good game up until a minute and 30 seconds left.
yeah. I mean, when people are when that's what they're talking about the wrong things. And like you said, James Bradbury comes out. It looked like a hostage. Oh yeah, it was definitely holding. When have you ever heard a defensive player or any player, period, say, yes, I committed the penalty?
The good thing
They
would be
never
to
do
see
that.
his reaction when it was called, and then that's when you really know his true reaction of whether it was a hold or not.
Juju Smith-Schuster didn't even react to it.
Correct.
He didn't even react
Oh,
to it.
no flag! And they
There
said,
was one-
hold on.
There was one earlier in the game where he thought he was held and he was throwing his arms up, but
Yep.
he didn't do it on that play. So that tells me it was not a penalty. The receiver didn't even think it was a penalty.
Yep. Maybe you should get to the Valentine's Day thing, TJ.
And you know that they told the Eagles, yeah, we owe you one. I guarantee you that. NFL went
It's here's the thing. Is it any question? Do you remember like last time there was a terribly missed call? It was that Saints and Rams game where the Saints where the Rams defensive back just tattoos the freaking Saints receiver well before the ball gets there, and nobody calls a pass interference penalty. It was blatant and as clear as day. And then afterwards, Sean Payton didn't say anything about the missed call. Didn't mention it. Oh, they asked him, "How do you think about?" Oh, we trust the guys in the league. They're, we're not going to go ahead and blame it down on one call. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well,
what it comes in is Goodell, the NFL comes in there and says, "Hey, do you want to still have a job? We've got XYZ under your fingernails. We're able to see it. You go ahead and mention anything like that, we're just going to fucking bury you. We're going to bury you." And that's exactly what it is. It's like the mafia. The freaking NFL is the freaking mob. They're the mafia. And they're just up to their gangster, tricky ways, the NFL is. This load of shit, NFL. Anyway, yeah, it was like a hostage. It was James Bradbury video was like a hostage video, is right. I was trying to pull it up here, but in the effort of time, if I'll have to look into that and getting it pulled up. So I want to get to the exact part. But let's talk about this. Alvin Kamara, by the way, was indicted for that allegedly beating up the Las Vegas nightclub last year.
Well, he wasn't as good a player last year, so the NFL figures, well, we can let him get prosecuted now. He's not that good anymore. Not going to bring us any more eyeballs.
Yeah, the Saints are on the way out. Okay. See you later, Alvin Kamara. You're a running back entering almost his 30s. Yeah, okay. You don't have much left on the tires anymore either. Okay, time to go ahead and sacrifice you. He's gone. Yeah, I'll be shocked if he might never play another down again. Right? They're going to make him sit out at the see. Like, what type of suspension do you think he's going to? I mean, he was curb stomping this guy.
Put him in the ICU.
Yeah, I was about to say, you look at the pictures of that guy who he beat, him and his friends beat up, and him and his group beat up. They put him in the intensive care unit, as you mentioned there, X. I mean, how long of a suspension does that get you? Gambling and betting on a team that you're affiliated with, but we're not participating in games with, gets you a year long. That should get you 2, right? Maybe a year and a half. Who the hell knows? And you put the guy in the ICU.
Is what it is. That's the way the NFL operates. Seen it before.
Oh my God. Yeah. Let me pull up the picture there so we're able to see. This is just for those who have forgotten what him and his group went ahead and did to this guy. And again, we don't get the entire context. It's not like they film, 20 minutes of what happened, right? So we only get like the video of him getting his ass kicked. But this was the guy after they went ahead and pummeled him. I mean, not a good look. Not a good look.
Like he's roughed up a little bit.
Yeah. Cheeks look puffy after getting beaten. His eyes are swollen shut. His nose is cut on the top. Just bleeding all over the place.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh. So, not good. Not good. Hey, we'll see what happens at All-Star at the Pro Bowl weekend.
Yep.
No less.
And they knew it before, and they let him participate in the event.
Yep. And they let him play. They let him play the next
in the
season
Pro Bowl.
too.
They let him play the whole next year.
Yep.
Funny
Did
stuff.
Nothing.
Funny stuff happens sometimes. Funny stuff. Let's talk. Let me get back to some more comments here because then we're going to talk a little NBA, and it'll be a little bit of a shorter show today again because Grumpy's not feeling good, but we're going to be blasting through some things. Joseph C says, "I think it's going to be the Celtics and the Suns in the finals." Have to believe that once KD comes back, he'll make the seamless transition and averaging 30+ points a game.
He's been really good. He's been really good for a really long time.
That's a guy who's first ballot Hall of Famer, one of those special players in the league. It really is. You look at, there was a lot of teams that made some deals here at this year's trade deadline. Let me go ahead and push it forward here. The first one, the big one, right? First one to kick off, Kyrie Irving on the move from the Nets to the Dallas Mavericks, right? And they get a 2029 first round pick, 2 second-round picks, Spencer DeWitty and Dorian Finley-Smith. I mean, it's just kind of like the Nets are saying, "See you later, Kyrie." That just and the Nets just blew the team up. That's what you do when you're not going to just blow the team up.
Well, they had issues with him even with COVID. Remember, he didn't play any of the home games.
They had issues with him with COVID last year. They had issues with him retweeting something that was apparently anti-Semitic. I don't know. I didn't watch it, but that made him sit out, and he had to do like a whole bunch of steps. I remember Grump and I talked about it. We're like, what the heck is going on here? And so I know that they have not had a good relationship with Kyrie Irving, and he was looking to go too. So I think they mutually agreed to say, "See you later. We're going to part ways."
True.
Yep.
Another big trade here that happened. Let me ask you this trade here, how much is that going to help the Mavs?
It'll help him.
We got a good bit. He's a really good point guard. Really good.
Still.
Yep. He makes shots that other people just cannot.
He gets banged up now. It's a lot of we talk about the changing of the guard. We see a lot of those NBA stars are kind of getting up there in age too. And Kyrie is a guy who was a star who was up there in age also.
Yeah. But he's still really, really good, especially when healthy.
I mean, like you look at the Mavs, they're a team that's, borderline playoff team. They're pretty much a 500 team. They're 31-29 so far this year. So, they've lost their last 3 games, but you look at that team, it's got star names on it, right? But it's just like, star names are not enough to win you. I mean, Doncic, and I'm like, I think that Irving is still a little banged up. But I mean, like, that's a team that still has a little ways to go there. But it's a trade nonetheless that hopefully gets them the star power they need going forward. Another big trade that happened, Russell Westbrook, see you later, gets passed around, and he got traded. There. See you later, Russell Westbrook.
He signed with some Chinese team today, I think.
What?
I think he signed with the Chinese team today. I thought I read that somewhere.
Holy shit. No, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. He's doing the Dwight Howard move.
Yeah,
That where Dwight Howard is?
Dwight Howard's playing over in China, I think.
I'm not seeing.
And he's lighting it up too. He's hitting 3-pointers over there. It's wild. Yeah, couldn't do it in the NBA, but he's doing it in China.
Well, maybe the baskets are a lot shorter.
I have no idea. He's dominating in that Chinese league though. Like I watched some of his highlights. He's killing it.
It's the Chinese league.
I know.
No, I don't see anything tying him to China, Grump.
Okay. I thought he signed a contract somewhere. Okay.
But right, he gets moved.
Target.
And also in that trade, it was a 3-way trade. D'Angelo Russell goes back to the Los Angeles Lakers. And they've played much better basketball, the Lakers, since the trade.
They suck.
You don't think they've got enough, Grumpy?
No, they're not any good.
Anthony Davis is consistently hurt all the time.
He's older now. Think about it, though. He's older up there.
Yeah, he's been hurt a lot throughout his career too. I mean, he always has like a foot or leg injury every single season, it seems. I don't think they have the parts to win.
When you look at this too, right? You talk about the Lakers are trending in the right direction. They put after that trade. Before the playoff projection was only 34%. Now it's 45%. It's the team is just old. And here's the thing. It's towards the tail end for LeBron.
Yep. LeBron's playing with his kid, Bronny, when he comes up, and that's it. That's his last year playing. That's what he said.
I thought that he wanted to play with his kid too. And what is his kid, 1 year away?
I think
He's a senior in high school
he's
now
a
or
senior in
something?
high school, but I think he still has to. He still has, I guess, this senior year, and then he has 1 year of college. Or if he goes overseas to play, which I don't think he's good enough to go overseas. He has 1 year of college, and then he'll be in the pros.
Yep.
Bare minimum.
Is he even that good?
No, he would not have even gotten, like, his statistics are not great. I don't know how he's done this senior year, but up until his junior year, I think he was averaging like 6 points a game, which is terrible.
I also think that since the last time we talked, LeBron James became the all-time leading scorer in the NBA.
He has.
He did. He did go ahead and pass that milestone. I mean, what he's done for the
I
sport.
think it's $69,000 for courtside seats for that game.
If that was the highest paid ticket price.
Yeah, 69 grand.
Pretty cheap. I mean, like, I guess they want to say I watched and witnessed history firsthand, but I'm sorry. Yeah, you couldn't rope me into something paying $69,000 to watch. I can watch that from the comfort of my home.
Yep.
$69,000. That's ridiculous. But yeah, Bronny James, they've got him recruit-wise as the number 34 recruit in the nation, as a 4-star guy. Who the
His
hell?
younger brother is going to be better than him.
You think? I can't tell.
Yes.
I don't keep up enough.
His younger brother's like are already taller than taller than he is. I think he's like 6'7", his younger brother. And he's a lot more like LeBron's build than Bronny is. Bronny's 6'3".
He's awful small for a combo guard.
He's a
Yeah.
guard, yeah.
Look up his points per game average.
Bronny James this year has been averaging 14. Now this was updated January 20th, so it could have changed a bit. He was averaging 14 points a game, a team high 5.4 rebounds a game, 2.9 assists a game, and 1.8 steals a game for Sierra Cannon.
That's not crazy stats.
Now Sierra Cannon is a good. I've heard of that school before. I thought it's a pretty competitive school, at least regarding high school basketball. I can't tell you keep up enough with high school basketball, but this is not. Yeah, I don't know. You wonder how much of this ranking is because of his dad's name.
It's absolutely because of his dad.
So
it's absolutely because of that.
He's probably not even in the real world a 3-star recruit.
No,
but he's got offers, right? He's got offers from Memphis, Ohio State,
Duke
USC.
offered him already.
He's a McDonald's All-American too. What a shock!
And I think he was also invited, the only high school kid invited to some big tournament, which are like all about pros.
Was that
college.
next? I
don't know what it was. I don't know, but I'm like, that kid's not even that good. It's
No,
all
he's
a name thing.
It's all his dad.
Yeah.
It will be. I will tell you one thing. It will be nice to see. I think it would be kind of cool to see them both playing together on the same court. How often has that ever happened before?
Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. played together in baseball.
I mean, in the NBA.
No.
Has that ever happened?
No. I
So,
mean,
like,
Rivers was coached by his dad, but that's about it that I know of.
So that was a big trade that shook up the basketball world. I remember Ken Birch when he used to play for the University of Pittsburgh. But yes, the Phoenix Suns getting Kevin Durant. I mean, that's a big move, right? I mean, you look at what the Suns gave up, and who knows where those picks are going to be, but they gave up 4 first-round picks for TJ Warren and Kevin Durant, as well as a few players there, and a 2028 pick swap. I mean, now is that right with the Suns? I've always talked about it, and we've always talked about it. Chris Paul is not clutch. I don't think Kevin Durant is all that clutch either. So, I do worry about how they
Is
close
Chris
things
Paul
out.
even playing there anymore?
Devin Booker is
all
there.
here, as we discussed.
Are you guys hearing that?
Yeah.
I heard it, whatever it was.
Okay, I got to close out of that. They just keep playing ads. Sorry about that.
Is Chris Paul even playing anymore for them?
Give me a second here, Grump. Yeah, he's playing for them. He's playing. He's played 38 games so far. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's not playing for him anymore. Jesus Christ. Shows you how much I'm paying attention.
I mean, Devin Booker is the big guard there for them.
Yeah, he's the shooting guard for them.
And he was
No,
hurt
I'm sorry.
last year.
He's played 38 games so far this year for them. So he's been a little banged up, but he's played. I was like, damn, I said, did he retire? And I just totally missed it. No, he's still playing right now. He's played 38 games for them. He's not, here's the thing. He's averaging, 14 points a game, 9 assists a game. He's played 38 games though for them this year.
Is he the starter?
Yeah, he's playing. When healthy, he plays. I mean, when healthy, he's playing quite a healthy bit, right? He's playing like 30 something minutes a night, but he's been banged up a few times this year. He's older. He's been banged up a few times this year. But that's a guy too who, I don't think Chris Paul is that clutch. I don't think Kevin Durant's that clutch. But that Phoenix Suns team is a tough team to play against. You just look at the production they've had. They've had a fantastic year too.
Well, I mean, yeah, Devin Booker, I think he put up like 70 or 80 points in one game this season already.
I mean, they're fourth in the Western Conference, right? And the conferences are pretty close, right? The Nuggets, right, are leading the Western Conference, but I mean, 32 and 27. I expect them to be on an upward trend, especially once Kevin Durant comes back, even as Joseph had mentioned too. A team that seemed to have not missed a beat despite coaching change, the Celtics. Grump, remember we talked about the Celtics little scandal there, but Celtics not missing a beat, leading the Eastern Conference. They're off to, again, fantastic season again for the Celtics.
And today they took the interim tag off of Joe Mazzulla. So they're going to have to negotiate some type of buyout for Odoba, the guy who was the head coach, got himself in some hot water. He's gone.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, hold on a second.
Udoka.
Did you know that Bally Sports filed for bankruptcy?
No.
I did not know that. But Drew L sent that to us here. And he also sent us a little meme. It's when Russell Westbrook and Ben Simmons are top free agent in their top free agent destination. Let's pop this up and we're going to get back to some comments. But it says Russell Westbrook and Ben Simmons top free agent destination.
China.
Headed to China. You talk about a guy who just the mental psyche was never there for him, and he just was mentally weak. Ben Simmons, my goodness, Ben Simmons there. Yes, Grumpy. We're gonna start zooming through some comments here because Grumpy, we're gonna be trying to keep this under an hour, right at an hour here. There's a few things we want to talk about again because we're not gonna have a show this Sunday, but let's look here at some more comments. James F saying late again, TJ. No. That is Grumpy's fault today. Joseph C. Joseph C saying, and good for Derek Carr forcing the Raiders to release him instead of letting them get draft capital back.
He's going to lose out on that financially. It was dumb for him to do that. He was scheduled to make $40 million a year for the next 3 years. No one's going to pay him $40 million a year for the next 3 years.
Shit, Daniel Jones is going to get paid apparently $35 million.
Daniel Jones is how old? 27?
Daniel Jones sucks, though.
Daniel Jones blows.
Okay, what's Derek Carr ever done?
Derek Carr, even his age, is better than Daniel Jones. Come on.
I just think he's going to have a hard time getting that money. Getting $40 million a year.
I don't think they're going to sign a long-term contract with a guy like Carr, but maybe he might get a two-year deal. That's
that's what I'm saying.
He missed out on that last year of the contract. Yep.
And he's not going to get $40 million per either.
No. James F says, "Hey guys, GJ, you said you can't do the show Saturday, so why don't you do the show, Grumpy? You could just do the show, Grump."
TJ runs the show. He's the showrunner.
And Grumpy's the talent. Drew L said, by the way, Grumpy, with the new acquisitions and very underrated Josh Hart, the Knicks have won 6 of the last 7 and have officially turned the corner.
You know what the Knicks aren't doing? Winning an NBA championship.
No,
they're not.
Don't take the air out of his parade, Grumpy, and his balloon. Come on. And Drew also said, as I predicted would happen, it's time to admit you were wrong. Grumpy, that's directed to you.
I don't remember. I just said they're not going to win a championship. That's all.
I think
the Knicks, they'll turn into the Knicks. They'll turn back into a pumpkin before the season's over.
Oh, man.
I don't hate the Knicks. I don't hate the Knicks. I just don't think that RJ Barrett is, I don't know. Drew likes him a lot better than I. Drew likes him a lot better than I do. That's all I'm going to say.
Because he ruined Duke's run
That's right.
When
Exactly.
you play with him, that's why you don't
Shameless
like him.
ball hog.
Yep.
Oh man, I tell you, Duke, whatever. Yeah, man, Duke basketball. You talk about the shift that they've had. They've really struggled this
They're
year.
currently getting destroyed by Virginia Tech.
Oh
Oh,
God.
tonight I didn't
Or
realize.
they got destroyed by Virginia Tech. Last time I checked, they were down by 20.
Yeah, they have games where they they'll win
can't
against good
score.
teams and they get blown out. They miss Coach K. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And how long, Shire's a good recruiter, but if your team isn't really good, you're not going to be able to recruit those players anymore. They're going to like, why the hell would I go there? You're a, also
Middle of the road team. Yep.
Yeah. I think they'll make the NCAA tournament, but they're not going anywhere.
Yep.
They're going to need to transition away from the one and dones to become successful again, in my opinion.
I mean, like, a guy I haven't thought of in a while, Marvin Bagley. That's a guy I haven't thought of in a while, but it's like he's pretty much faded into mediocrity. Drew L says, and with us here, as always, aka the new addition to the team, Mr. Witness Protection, Son X. It is. The Gut, what's up? How are you? Frank says maybe it's because Son X is worried that all the ladies will want him, and he'll have too many to handle. That's what it is. That's what Son
Right.
X.
I'm a hot commodity.
D-Cut says, still no camera for Son X. Has to be the warden who is not allowing us to see his mug. Oh, man. I almost think it adds to the mystique now.
It does add to the mystique of Son X.
Oh, man. And Nick D says, TJ, Son X, Grumpy, how are you guys doing tonight? Grumpy, hope you're feeling better.
I'll tell you what, I am feeling worse today. And TJ shamed me into doing the show today. I'm like, dude, I called him up. I'm like, I cannot do the show. I'm really ill. I didn't give a shit.
You didn't drink water. 75% of your body is made of water. Should drink more water.
I've got a headache. I'm like, how much water did you drink? He's like, none.
No, first of all, I didn't say that. That's you saying that. I've been drinking water all day, but I've had a headache. Today was a really tough day. And, of course, zero sympathy from these two shitbags.
A guy thinking about like Duke again. Keep going back to Duke. Do you remember Harry Giles?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's out of the league already.
Well, he's had the knee injuries too. So,
just saying, though, out of the league already. Oh, Jesus Christ! I tell you, it's the NBA is a crazy league, man. Crazy league. Goon says here, Grumpy. You did an expert job of explaining the storyline behind the hit film Beaches last night in a single word: friendship. I salute you. Do you accept my salute?
For those about to rock, we salute you. Yes, I do.
Oh, there it is. Brett W. here, Grumpy.
When will Son X be unmasked, or is a mask needed so children aren't frightened?
I think it's the second, Drew. Brett W. That children will be frightened.
I do want to get him a mask to wear.
Nick D said 4-1 Florida over the Capitals in the third. Unfortunately, Florida is also competing for a playoff spot too with games in hand. Frank says yes. And then hello, Grumpy Old Man TJ and Daniel Son X. Okay, Daniel Son. Like from Karate Kid and Cobra Kai. D-Cut says, Goon, how you doing? Evening. Tony Cheese says, okay, was TJ a pitcher because he's being way too defensive of that dude's little shuffle on the mound?
TJ never played baseball, but he could throw the ball.
That's how you used to pitch. You used to go ahead and step forward.
That's exactly how TJ used to pitch. He looked like a moron. I'm like, what the hell are you doing over there? And TJ, let me tell you something. He threw a really heavy ball, but he was just wild as hell. And he would change his delivery every single pitch. I just gave up.
Throw to that is off, Grump.
It's just like I said, when you're dealing with some type of moronic attitude like that, you just have to. I'm like, what? All right, I'm done with you. Move on.
Angel said, how long till TJ calls the Mets offseason below average? Which it very much wasn't. The Mets season was below average the offseason, Andrew L. You know what? I guess we'll just be adding that in every single year after we don't win the World Series and maybe don't make the postseason this year.
get ready to throw up after this comment.
Nick D says Bailey was not in the lineup during practice today. They had Anders.
It's duplication. They got two guys who do the same freaking thing on the same line.
Stand in front of the net, plop their ass in, redirect pucks, and Jesus Christ. Matt Barzal. We have seen enough of Andersley with Matt Barzal forever. We never need to see that bullshit lineup ever again. Matt Barzal and Andersley should never be on the same ice surface ever. Oh, man. Gung says, the pitcher Garcia is a fooler. I remember seeing him versus the Mets last year, and as soon as there was a runner on base, he magically stopped doing that ridiculous back and forth move.
I don't like him doing it at all.
I kind of like it.
It's dumb.
I'm doing a little bit of the salsa. Bam!
You shouldn't be up there dancing on the mound. Just throw the ball.
It's like Bugs Bunny. It's like Bugs Bunny when they're playing against the superstars, where it's like,
it was the Gas House Gorillas, not the Superstars.
I'm sorry, the Gas House Gorillas.
Hey, he's thinking of the Monstars from Space Jam.
And just every single time, just knocking that shit out of the park. Joseph C said, Mets play the most top heavy in the most top heavy division of baseball. Just get to the middle. Just get to the middle of the order. Bat at the deadline, or middle of the order. Bat at the deadline, and make the playoffs. The rest is a crapshoot. I don't know. Anything could happen. Injuries are a big thing and big play in sports, especially baseball. That's one where, hey, you could have a few guys that just kind of start compiling injuries. And if you've got too many injuries to your arms, you're just going to be kind of screwed. D-Cut says professionals wear sleeves. Professionals wear shirts with sleeves, TJ. I know. Gungun says, Tony Cheese, pepper jack cheese is an underrated cheese, but Swiss and Sharp and provolone can't be beat. Grump, what's your favorite type of cheese?
I don't care. I don't want any cheese comments today. Move to the next comment. I'm not feeling good. I don't want to talk. No offense, Gungun, or anybody talking about cheeses.
I like talking about cheese now. I like D-Cut says smoked mozzarella is good. I like fresh mozzarella too. Good to put on top like that. Oh man, good to put a little fresh mozzarella cheese.
You remember what I said to you today? I said I don't want the podcast going more than an hour today, and we have a billion comments because you're talking about cheese.
Yeah,
ridiculous things. All other ridiculous things you talk about.
Okay. Angelo said the Mets offseason was good, and they did what they had to replace lost pieces and add more to the bullpen. This trade deadline is going to be more important and valuable than the offseason. Any thought on that, Grump?
No. I don't think they're that good.
Neither do I.
I don't like the offseason they had. I like last year's offseason. This year, not so much. I don't.
They just stood pat. And if you're not getting better in the MLB, you're going backwards.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they're not a young team. So,
smoked Gouda. Grumpy, he likes my. Brett W says, if they shifted, or if they'd shift on Mantle, DiMaggio, Pete Rose, Rod Carew, Wade Boggs, Derek Jeter, and a decent hitter, they would have bunted and taken the free base. Nowadays, it's a league full of Dave Kingmans who hit 220 and can't bunt, so they cry about the shift.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Andrell said, chicks dig the long ball. And
true.
Rest in peace to Tim McCarver and Raquel Welch.
Do you even know who Raquel Welch is, TJ?
No.
Holy shit. Pull up a picture. Just put Raquel Welch. Pull up a picture. She was like a really beautiful woman. And Tim McCarver was a really good baseball announcer. Back in the 80s, he was with the Mets. He also
won World Series. I think two-time World Series champion
with the Cardinals. But he was an announcer for the Mets in the 80s and did the national broadcast. And just Raquel Welch was like super beautiful woman.
I'll pull up. I assume this is the picture that you're talking about, or a picture that you're.
It's probably not the picture that you're going to put up, the one with the bikini. Oh, okay. Well, that's a different one. But yeah, she was hot there too. She was in her 40s when she took this, mid 40s, late 40s.
Okay.
She's good looking.
I don't see it, but fair enough, Grump.
You don't think that woman is beautiful?
She's all right. I'm not turning her away, but come on, Grump.
Try tell Paige that.
Says Frank, happy belated birthday. Happy birthday, Frank.
Happy birthday.
Grumpy, you got a happy birthday to say? You're going to sing happy birthday
I
song,
gave it
Grumpy?
a thumbs up. Thumbs up
Happy
for that.
awesome birthday.
I believe I actually told him happy birthday when we talked last.
Yep. Apex Legends says here, Coach Tommy needs to be the next general manager.
It's like we already got Coach Tommy as a GM now.
Gungun says, I never saw that Nike ad before. It's pretty good. Much better than the bland, brainless, unimaginative, unfunny commercials of today. Just look at the feces Super Bowl ads this year for the proof. Yeah, I was about to say,
You can't do anything funny because you're afraid of offending some astro speck of society. So, probably not anybody who spends any money, but so why should it even matter? But so they're too busy worry about offending anyone. I say screw it, offend everybody. Let's roll.
Justice C said, my hate for Tom Glavine is eternal as a Mets fan between all of the years with the Braves and blowing the final game of the season against the Marlins in 2007 that cost the Mets the playoffs. I like Tom Glavine. Yeah. What can you do, though? I always like Tom Glavine. Gungun says, out of all the guests thus far, Coach Tommy B has the best posture. He sat up perfectly straight for the full 3 hours.
Posture.
Is that not what I said? Posture?
You did not say posture.
Sun X. Go to the replay. Sun X, what did I say?
Posture.
God damn it. Posture.
Word butchering.
Pot stir. Maybe he's getting hungry. He's thinking about making some food.
Ooh, some pot stickers. That does sound kind of yummy. Grumpy playing hurt, but TJ canceling the weekend shows because of laziness. It shows the generational differences, says D Cut.
Yeah, D Cut. Let me tell you something. I said, dude, I'm really not feeling well. Gotta do it. You're not sick. You're fine.
So would you say Grump is like Brady and TJ is like Tua?
That's exactly what I
Oh, no. Grumpy was trying to pull a Tua. He's like, I'm feeling kind of sick. This is sick. That's sick. My head hurts. Grumpy was pulling out every Tua he could in the book. And then we said, Grumpy, strap up and be like the people's champion. This podcast needs you, Grump. Strap up and be TB12. And I said that you're allowed to speak. I said, no TB12 talks.
And I said it had to be an hour. And we're already an hour and 12 minutes.
Don't worry, he's going to be going to his judo classes, learning how to fall, so he'll be ready for the podcast every single day. No more injuries.
Did you see that? He's going to judo classes in order to learn how to fall and I guess get sacked. How ridiculous is that?
Maybe we should learn how to throw a ball.
Tua's judo class. I mean, like, I've seen a lot of crazy shit, but yeah, Tua says he plans to take judo classes every Friday this offseason to learn how to fall better. I have never seen anything like that before in my life. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, but nothing like this.
When he gets his third or fourth concussion, the comment's going to be, I guess those judo classes paid off.
Maybe they just put like big bubble wrap over his head.
And so are you worried going on to the season, next season? Are you concerned?
No, not at all.
What was the question?
And shoot,
she couldn't articulate it. Are you worried?
Okay, why do you think she's there?
Because she's brilliant.
She's a good sports announcer.
Plan throughout this offseason that I've kind of talked to the team about the plan that I was gonna try to learn how to fall. So Christ. Like once a week on every Friday, I take a judo class. So so it'll help with me sort of understanding my body more and then learning how to fall.
Yeah,
it sounds as if he lost a bet.
And so are you worried going on to the season, next season?
She sounds like the Gronk. She sounds like the
onto the season? Are you worried about going on to the season?
She sounds like the female Gronk. Oh no. Oh, good gracious.
Hey, maybe she's special too.
Oh, good gracious. No, Gronk is funny. Everybody loves Gronk. Oh, Drill said teams with poor quarterbacks. Kenny, pick it.
Oh shit.
Gosh.
It's actually Spigot.
You got here Frank saying, rest in peace to Tim and the great Raquel. And James F says here, I hope the Raiders sign Josh Jacobs' his new deal. I'd sign it for 3 years. Well, he's going to want more than 3 years.
He's going to get franchise tagged is what's going to happen with him.
Gotta love that. And Drill said, the last time I checked, TJ, it's not a good quarterback prediction guru, although he's practically claims to be one. Hold on, Drew. I'm right on every single quarterback. There's not a quarterback I'm wrong.
Just read the rest of the comment.
Also, TJ Baker doesn't count because anyone outside of Cleveland fans knew he sucked. That's not true. That was not true. And guess what? Kyler Murray blows. I've been the first one to say that, and I'll still be the right one on that. Joseph C. said Zeke is washed. They should cut him. Absolutely.
Yep.
And the Giants aren't going to learn from the Cowboys' mistakes either. Probably going to throw a ton of guaranteed money at Barkley. Yep, they probably will.
He is their
Frank,
offense right now, though.
He definitely is.
Frank says, I'm bumping Disco Station on Pandora. Donna Summer, Bee Gees, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Such great music.
It was just happy music. It was just fun.
You don't like Money and Hoes. You don't like the new songs they come out with, Grump?
That's not fun. It's stupid.
Oh, man. And I bet the Giants don't go crazy on Barkley. They know he's going to get hurt easily. Yeah, what the heck happened to Zeke? He just got old, man. Just got old, got beaten up. Joseph C. said, Kyler is too worried about how many kills he's going to get in Call of Duty. Oh, that's
Absolutely.
it. Oh, man. After the cap, they just scored 2 goals in like 15 seconds. Oh, man.
Honestly, if you're an Islanders fan rooting for them to do poorly, you kind of want that game to go into overtime.
Yep. So they get as many points as possible, those two teams.
Yeah.
Al Monroe says here, somebody stole TJ sleeves again. Yeah, no.
TJ's just he's an unprofessional lout.
That's me. Okay. Florida just opened it up 5-3. Panthers over the Capitals. Okay, good to see. Joseph C. said, the Bears need as many roster spots as possible. Just trade back and accumulate picks. The Bears are in a very, very odd situation, right? If they're not going to draft a quarterback, you're right. They should trade back and accumulate as many picks as possible. If they're thinking quarterback, I guess trade Fields and try to pick up some picks from that too, but you can't have both. James F. says here, I hope the Raiders pick up a defenseman in the first round and then a quarterback in the second round. I don't know, defenseman be defensive. I'm not too familiar with the Raiders' needs.
They need a quarterback. They're going to go after a veteran quarterback. I think that's maybe with Brady no longer playing. I think that possibly you'll see Garoppolo as a spot for him.
Yikes.
Dungan says, Grumpy, let's talk about movies for a second. I'm watching Lady Sings the Blues for the first 30. Has to be perhaps the most depressing beginning of any movie. Amen, Grump?
No, I've seen more depressing movies than that in the first 30, but it's a little depressed. I watched it, gosh, I want to say maybe about 3-4 months ago. I thought that Diana Ross was good in it, but I didn't think the movie was really great overall. She plays Billie Holiday, and she died at the age of 34. She had drug issues and stuff like that. So,
got a comment here from
that also came out in 1972, the same year as The Godfather.
Yeah, I can't say I've watched that movie. Frank says here, Raiders are going to get Karen Rodgers. Damn.
Aaron Rodgers.
Drew L said, what's crazy is that TJ and Grumpy are arguing the same exact point from Fields that applies to Daniel Jones. Yeah, okay. Field has nowhere near of a ceiling as Jones. Hold on. I even said I don't think Fields is the answer too. Whatever weapons you think Daniel Jones is lacking, go ahead and subtract that by 20. And that's what you're looking at with Justin Fields. I'm sorry. No, Daniel Jones is Justin Fields who can actually pass, not turn the ball over. Jesus Christ. Drew, you are going to be looking back on this and you're going to be like, wow, how could I make such a big mistake? You'll see. It'll come around. Frank says, I hope the Jets steal Jones. I'm a big fan of someone who can run the ball well. The G-men won't let him leave. See you later. Trade him. See you later. Andrew L. said, no, you don't. Jones sucks ass. Yeah, he does. If Jones were on the Jets, they would probably have at least made it past the divisional round. The Giants' interior offensive line and weapons are arguably just as bad as Chicago.
Just as another Jets aside, they are not going to be picking up the 50-year option on Fat Boy Becton.
Makai Becton, let's go, baby. He's gonna be back and healthy this year. He's gonna surprise everybody.
He'll be hurt again. Probably some eating related injury.
Kungun says, will Batty make us proud this year at third base, or will he be out of here like poop through a goose?
I don't know.
I hope he'll be playing, or at least towards the tail of the year, he'll be up there on a consistent basis, right? He's a guy who's one of the top prospects for us. He's like a top 10 prospect now in baseball. So I'd like to see him being able to do something. But Francisco Alvarez is a guy that we're excited for too. So who knows? Prospects are just prospects until they're in the MLB, and more MLB prospects flunk out than any other sport. And top prospects, he was like, hey, he's in AAA. He's a can't miss. Plays 100 games and flunks out of the league and never see him again.
Oh my God,
Frank.
No, Frank. No.
I told my Giants buddy if we had Daniel Jones with our weapons and assuming the line was healthy and good and the defense, we could make it to the Super Bowl almost.
No.
What, you don't think that's possible, Grump?
No, I do not.
Grumpy, you seem very tired and lethargic tonight. Are you wearing concrete underpants?
My head feels like it's loaded with concrete.
Have you drank enough water, Grumpy? How much water have you drank today?
I don't know. Since I'm on this podcast, I've not been able to drink any water.
You got a
Well,
bottle.
now
How
the
does it stop you from chugging your purple drink? You drink that all the time. Here you go, Grumpy. We're going to do an exercise. Take out your purple drink, Grump, and we're going to drink together. I see the purple drinks right behind your shoulder. Let's go for a little swig together. We're going to count down. Yeah,
Oh, he has 3 of them.
Grumpy, let's go ahead and chug some purple drink with us, huh?
Just go to the next comment, please.
TJ throwing a millennial hissy fit over a call that saves millions. Philly deserves nothing. Oh, man. Well, it's funny. Before the game, they're flipping over cars, and those Philly fans are maniacs. So think about how crazy we are and how crazy the officiating has been to make Giants fans pull for freaking Philly.
Lots
Let me ask you a
deployed.
question. You watched that game, and you saw the lack of adjustments by the Eagles.
And Sirianni, yeah.
How do their 2 assistant coaches how do the 2 coordinators get head coaching gigs?
Couldn't tell you.
I tell you what, there's no way I would have hired him after that performance. No
The
way.
Colts hired the offensive coordinator who made 0 adjustments. Hey, that's a typical Colts move. The Colts freaking hired Jeff Saturday as an interim head coach who went like 1-7 or whatever he did. The Colts are a shambolic franchise at this point. That's just what they are. It's just what they are. My Giants buddy says the same and worse about Philly. Joseph C says, couldn't happen to a better city. Philly losing the MLS Cup Finals, the World Series, and the Super Bowl all in less than a calendar year. Philly fans are suffering hard. I don't mind that, but one time I was pulling for Philly. D-Cut says, how about an investigation into those shitty field conditions? The NFL worked for 2 years to develop that grass, and it sucked.
I don't know. I can go walk out in my backyard in cleats, and my grass doesn't get all torn up.
It's called a poor return on your investment.
Goon says, I've admittedly never played football, but if football is your full-time job, you should not be grabbing another player's jersey. Be one of the more obvious and of the holiest of holy things to obey. No, they do that.
They hang on wide receivers. They got arms wrapped around them as passes are coming, and it's not called.
Yep.
It's if you're going to let stuff like that go the whole game, you can't change the way you call a game right at the end. That players adjust to how the game is being called. When you change that at the end, it's the same thing like in hockey.
In NHL, I was about to say, talk about like the Stanley Cup comparison and how the Stanley Cup playoffs look. I don't mean to run you over, Grumpy, but I know you're not feeling good, so I know the point you're going to make. But it's like, if they're not calling anything, the guys are throwing the body. There's almost borderline boarding penalties left and right. There's slashes that they've called all regular season that are getting away with in the postseason. And you go ahead and hit somebody's stick, and the guy goes, and complains about it and goes ahead and gets a slashing penalty. If they haven't called slashing at all or hooking or interference, and you give a ticky-tack call like that to give a team a power play with 3 minutes remaining in the game, that has a direct outcome if they score that goal. And it's like, well, shit, you didn't call this. You slashed somebody's stick in half earlier on in the game, but there was no penalty call.
And another thing, you're allowed to hold the wide receiver within a yard of the line of scrimmage.
Correct.
That's something that they've just Didn't they just ignore? Well, look, he's holding. Yeah, but he's at the line of scrimmage when he's contacting him. Everything
It's
was
called
within 3
jamming,
yards.
jamming a wide out at the line of scrimmage. You could
Yeah.
put hands on the guy, but once they start getting into the route, you're not allowed to be grabbing, holding,
And
clutching.
he let him go. He let him go. As a matter of fact, at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. That's just what they call a good jam. That's a good job of playing press as a corner. That's why I'm like, they'll go ahead and put it. Don't get me started on it. It's
Besides the fact the ball was thrown 50 feet over the wide receiver's head as well.
Well, that technically doesn't impact holding, and that is true. Technically, holding is the way to say, like, hey, if you held
But the referee didn't throw the flag immediately. It's after the ball was thrown well over his head. Then he threw the flag.
Holding.
So it's like,
holding is
dude, if it was a penalty, you should have thrown it way earlier.
Correct.
It's
Drew
horseshit.
L says NFL Mafia saved millions of people from suffering tons of insufferable Philly fans. Good. Andrew L said, and they just showed a commercial during the Devils game with Alex Smith's leg, and I wanted to vomit. Yes, anytime I see that, I'm like, ugh. Where you see like the comeback, like that's something I could afford never to see again. Like the way his leg looks, like the lumps like that. Ugh, no thanks. Drew L, we're about to get through these comments here, Grumpy. We're cruising through, Grump. Drew L said, and you know what's even better? Philly will continue to chip, or will continue their championship drought because the 76ers aren't winning shit, and their legendary choker duo known as James Harden and Doc Rivers. Oh gosh. John McManaman says, good evening, boys. Grump, if you were Miami, would you trade Noodles for Lamar Jackson?
Yes.
I think both are not great NFL quarterbacks.
I'll take Lamar Jackson over Noodles any day.
I would too, but Lamar Jackson's not the answer. Dungoon says, isn't that beat up chap in line to make a pretty penny though? Yeah, I was about to say, hey, if an NFL player beats the hell out of you, especially one who's been paid quite a bit, hey, you're gonna be getting some good pay, I feel like. And Kyrie sucks, says Frank. And who beat him up? It was Alvin Kamara and a few of his buddies. And I don't think you lads ever disclosed where the family went away on vacation. Is the time finally right?
Went to Disney World.
There it is. Yep, that we did. And Frank says, I'm back watching the Nets again now. The little three are gone. Oh, gosh. And I can confirm Russell Westbrook is not in China. Also, TJ sent you that content. Oh, thank you. Tony G says, was thinking about naming my child Drew and emotionally abusing him. I don't think I have to explain that this is a joke. I petition that whenever TJ talks about basketball, he should invite me on the podcast. I even have the setup for it now. Maybe Drew. Goon says, Grumpy, bring back your trademark gray sweatshirt. We miss it. That's why you're sick, Grumpy. Where's the gray sweatshirt?
I don't know where it is. I think
See, it would help your head. You put the hood on and everything.
There.
Shut up.
Help your headache.
D-Cut
We
says,
don't hear shit from X until he's taking a shot at me.
Sun X or D-Cut says, Sun X bringing some NBA knowledge to the show. Nice addition. I was about to say, a little bit. Rob G says, TJ and Grumpy, hello. Fingers crossed the Islanders need a huge win tomorrow. At least 2 out of the next 3.
Good luck.
Rob, just when you resist what is, that's when suffering begins. No more suffering, Rob. Drew L says here, Ben Simmons is like the tier above what super busts are, such as Kwame Brown, because at least he showed promise for the first 2 years before Trae Young destroyed his career. Oof. Yeah, Ben Simmons. And he got the yips, or the, what they call it, the eeps, where he just wouldn't shoot the ball, just can't hit a 3 to save his life.
He can't shoot a 3. That's the thing. That's always been his issue.
Can't hit a jump shot.
He's like, what is he, like 6'9", 6'10", and he's a point guard.
Soft.
He's a point guard.
Soft. He's just soft. Frank says, Rob G, what's up? Let's go Islanders. Drill said, there's 2 things in the world that make me smile: protein and Trump saying China. Rob G says, how about those Syracuse Orange men? How have they been playing this year?
Is Boeheim still their coach?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He complained about, he's like, the University of Pittsburgh looks like they paid for that team.
Well, the NIL deals.
They didn't have really any. Okay, the University of Pittsburgh. Fuck. You know what? Bayheim. Don't get me started on that son of a bitch, Jim Bayheim.
And his kids who played there as well.
Was that?
And I said, and his kids who played there as well.
Yeah, trust me, I got to see his kids in person.
Buddy Bayheim.
Yep. Dude, that was actually good.
Syracuse, they're 16-10 this year. Oof. I guess they're winning a few, but
Losing a few as well.
Hey guys, have you heard of Nick D? Nick D's nuts. Oh gosh, there it is. And by the way, Grumpy, turning a corner doesn't mean winning a championship. Turning a corner means changing a culture and not being a laughing stock anymore. But nice try.
We'll see.
A little sharp provolone with pepperoni. Yes, Rob G. I'm excited with all this cheese talk. Getting ready for dinner. Man, it's making me hungry. I'm starting to salivate. There was some fresh mozzarella at Costco I got to run and pick up. Tony Cheese says, no cheese talk, but we can talk about Raquel Welch, Grumpy.
We didn't talk very long about Raquel.
Look how much better he's feeling after that.
Wow, he's like, Raquel Welch.
He got a second wind. He got second life.
Can we go ahead and pop another picture, TJ, up of Raquel Welch? We need to go ahead and analyze her fashion.
Look at him. He's getting all giddy on the couch.
Goon says, Son X, concerning fashion, do you lean more towards TJ or towards the grumpy side of things?
Depends on what the argument is. Why don't we bring up the Jose Reyes is better than
Fashion,
Derek Jeter
fashion.
argument?
Concerning
Oh,
fashion.
my bad.
X, what the hell did you think we said?
I have no idea.
Maybe you figured you didn't know how
I
to read.
lean more towards TJ side of fashion. Grump's a sweats kind of guy.
I don't know. X has much better fashion choice than both me and Grump. So anyway, what's up, Shay? Look at this picture. It's Atu Ratu with crying face. Hey, I'm one follower away from 1,000 on Instagram, where I post about Mets minor league stuff and updates. What should I do to celebrate? It's a good question.
I don't know, Shay, but congratulations. That's
Congrats is right.
Awesome.
I don't know. What should she do to celebrate?
Shay, man, Shay's great.
Shay's got to do something to celebrate. She's got to do like
1,000.
I was about to say 1,000 has to be something special, like a huge dump or something. I don't know, Shay. You got to think. I got to think about that too. I don't even know. Yes. Hi, Shay, and congratulations. Drill said, honestly, Tua gives me the same energy like Russell Wilson. Total cornball.
Yeah, I could see it. Just the way he talks in interviews and stuff. Yeah.
Go Caps and Panthers. And look at this. Now Shay's got Oliver Wahlstrom with Coco the service dog, Grumpy.
Coco the service
Coco.
Panthers won and need Detroit and Buffalo to keep winning and us to lose, and we'll be in the bottom 12. That's what I'm talking about, Shay. Yes! We need to go to more games, Shay, when those tickets get cheap. Drew says, TJ, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look back at the Daniel Jones thing and then expose all your bad takes. Remember, I said this. Drew, here's the thing. I'm not wrong on football, and I'm never wrong on quarterbacks. Never. Oh, by the way, TJ, have you seen Fantasy Football Wrapped? It's pretty funny. No, I haven't. You got to send that to me if it's a video or some sort of short. Shay says, TJ, it is. Oh, go ahead, Grumpy.
Beatty. It's Beatty. Not whatever
Batty.
shit you said. He always says Batty.
That's how his name's spelled. Batty. B-A-T-Y. Batty.
Beatty.
But Goon says, Son X, if TJ lets you borrow his controversial lastings millage card, could you be trusted to give it a loving and caring home?
Absolutely. It would be perfect at holding up a nice tall glass of water.
I tell you, my lastings millage card, Son X, is graded. It's graded. Son X, every single card I get is graded.
The only way to make it worth more in value is if the water would seep through it.
Actually, I thought what you could do is you could use it like if you have like a table, it's like a little wobbly, stick it underneath the bottom of the table.
I level it out.
Lastings millage, just not to be fretted with, messed with. Shay says TJ needs to go to professional athlete name pronunciation class.
How about just reading class?
Hooked on phonics.
Frank says that's not going to happen, Shay. We'll win 3 out of 4 against tough teams. We suck against bad teams. Shay, look, hold on. Who is this? Is this Varley? Now, this is a picture of Varley right here. He says, we'll for sure lose Wednesday because I'm planning on going. That's what I'm talking about, Shay. Go to as many games as possible, and we'll lose to Boston and split against Pittsburgh. Shay confuses me by changing your profile every few minutes. Must be young person's thing. Oh, good gracious. Who are we getting reverb from? X. Have you moved where your thing is located?
It's literally been in the same spot the entire time.
I don't hear any reverb.
Okay.
I hear bounce back. It's definitely an echo.
Okay, it's Grump. Typical Grump. But now it sounds better. It must have been Grump doing his shit. Who the hell? Oh, Grumpy, what he's doing. And Drew says here, I saw the same thing on Twitter about Alvin Kamara. Deserved jail time because of how poorly he did in fantasy this season. Oh, goodness, Drew. And Shay said, I just get bored of the same profile picture all the time. And then Jackson T says, hi, guys. It's Lou. I own Ladicki. And I will keep buying. Oh, no, Grumpy. This is Lou Lamoriello's burner handle. Or burner account. He just happens to be called Jackson T. Does Patrick Ewing still have a job?
How does
I'm
Patrick Ewing still have a job? You know, reading comment bastard you.
How does Patrick Ewing still have a job?
Because he's Patrick Ewing. That's the reason why.
Who is he
He's a
coaching
legend.
these days?
He's a Georgetown legend. That's how he still has the job.
Georgetown, have they had any good seasons under him before? I feel like they have.
I don't think they have.
He's been there since 2017. Holy shit. His coaching record, I'm pulling it up.
He's not John Thompson. He's not even John Thompson Jr.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm looking at this. They have not had any good seasons under Patrick Ewing. Yikes. Oh, man, that's bad. Jesus Christ, these stupid ads. They are right now 6-21 this season. They are 6-25 last season. Yeah, they're not good.
It gets to the point you got to let him go.
Tony G says, oh, my God, I'm begging you to put Drew on the podcast. Oh, goodness.
There used to be nothing about but basketball. Pro basketball like the Knicks.
Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. Gungun says, I'll watch the Islanders merely for entertainment value for the rest of the season. I refuse to let Lou Lamoriello continue to work me like a puppet, or at the very least, a muppet. Yeah, I was about to say, just expect the team to lose every game, and anything else is, I guess, a positive little glimmer of hope. And I'll look at that after their Drew L about fantasy football wrapped. D-Cut says, Son X, are your reading skills closer to TJ's or Grump's?
TJ's. You saw in that last comment. Yeah, TJ's.
Goodness gracious. Tony G says, I heard Son X is a juggalo. He is. He's part of the insane mafia, the insane clown mafia. This is for all my juggalos and Superhuman. Oh, yeah, that's good. Grumpy, have you ever seen Superhuman before?
No.
Oh, you should pull him up, DJ.
Grumpy, read the next few comments and I'll pull this up.
Andrew Wells says, I hear the echo. TJ Florence says, went to the Islanders game Tuesday, looked flat and lifeless, especially in the shootout. Shay goes, if you want to chip in and help me go to the game so this team keeps on losing.
There you go, TJ.
Nice. I tell you what, that's Shay.
Run the rebuild, baby.
Shay's playing all the angles.
And Shay also says, I'm telling you, that's Cal Clutterbuck. You're more than welcome.
Welcome to.
JK, I get the tickets. Okay, Grumpy, keep reading.
Just kidding. I get tickets $30 or less and spend nothing at the arena. I take the train, bring in my own food, and bring in a water bottle. Go, Shay.
Shay knows what she's doing. I'm pretty well versed in 4 major sports, so I provide value to the podcast. There it is. And is Son X a Jedi Knight?
Yes.
And let Grumpy get some Z's, TJ. You're heartless. I do want to show him this. This is Grumpy. Are you familiar with Superhuman?
You already asked me that question. I told you no.
Okay, don't worry. We'll go ahead and get this. I'm trying to find what
If this is some guy jumping into a little kiddie pool, it's again stupid.
No, you gotta watch.
He does more than jump into
This
a
is
little
good content. He even has his own action figures. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you didn't know that? He was
Nope.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Look at that. Hold on. Where the hell are his good videos? Oh, he does them all shorts. Jesus Christ, this guy's a maniac. He's a menace to society, Grump.
There we go.
Let's pull. Oh gosh.
Yes.
Good. This is a good one, Grumpy. You'll get a kick out of this.
This is Superhuman TV show. Today I'll be jumping out your cheese grater.
You fucking idiot.
This is for the juggalos and
Hope he jumps into a
triplets.
bed of
Not for
nails
this
and
old
impales
woman I
himself.
Oh, don't worry, he does, buddy.
hope.
Jumps in the barbed wire.
Fuck this shit. Boop, boop. Ah, this fucking elbow. Oh, it fucking got my elbow. Oh, my fucking
Now,
God.
TJ, is that how you psych yourself up before watching the Islanders
This is
games?
Superhuman TV
Yeah,
show.
that
I got
is.
the-
Hold on a second. He has a whole. Why the hell are hit? Here we go.
This is Superhuman TV show.
Here you go, Grumpy. He's jumping
Barbed
into
wire
barbed
and
wire.
fluorescent bulbs, baby.
Raw water pool.
Nothing better.
I fear for this country.
Do not bring it home, and I hope you
If
like
this guy is popular, he's a fucking idiot. You know what? In the old days, you want to know what happened to this guy?
Thrills of my life.
He got beaten up in the streets.
this shit. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop, baby.
Ah! 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 Fuck my back! Ah! Fucking cut it.
What a loser.
No, Grumpy, you don't like him. He's valiant. Grump.
He's a loser. He's
Oh.
you know what?
Now, who's tougher, him or Bailey?
Who would you rather have on the first line with Matt Barzal, him or Josh Bailey?
I mean, that
Bailey.
guy's selling out with the body, though.
I couldn't watch that guy.
This is for all my gigolos and gigolites. And he does that every single time, Grump. Remember back in the good old days, he would really cut himself up. That's how man, he was out there every single day jumping. Oh, okay, Grumpy. We'll wrap things up. I can tell you. This is Cal Clutterbuck. I told you that. You could always end up with a lower bowl. Connections go a long way, says Shay. Look at this. Look at that. I'm actually not joking. I'm dead serious, says Drew. And Gungun says, TJ, Grumpy, Son X, what time will we be going to bed tonight? I'll probably be passing out maybe around like 11. I'll pass out on the couch or I'll be dead asleep in the bed, something like that. How about you, Grumpy? What time are you going to go to bed?
10 minutes.
Okay. Son X, what time are you going to bed?
I don't know. When I get tired.
TJ, read a book instead of watching this idiot. Well, anyway, Grumpy, we're here at the end of the show. What do you want to say before we wrap things up?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't. From TJ, the grumpy old man, and Son X.
Son X, what do you want to say before we wrap things up?
Thanks so much for coming out and listening, and hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Oh, there it is. Goon says, Grumpy, if you're not feeling well, drink some warm prune juice. You'll shit your pants and you'll feel like $1 million.
There you go. I always feel better after a poop.
Tony Cheese says, 2 things that make me laugh till I'm crying. Number 1, King Cobra, JFS. What the hell is that? And Superhuman. I love Superhuman. What the hell is King Cobra JFS? Hold on.
Just
Grumpy.
fucking stupid is what I think it is.
Hold on. I have to see
The other guy's embarrassing. You know he lives with his mother. You know he does.
I think he has autism, Grump. So,
He's a
You
fucking
know what? He's got
moron.
a
I don't give a
strong
shit
back.
if you've got autism.
He's got
You
a
shouldn't
strong
be
back.
embarrassing yourself like that.
Oh my God. This guy. Oh no. I'll have to watch this later on. This Tony Cheese he's a menace, Tony Cheese is. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We'll see you guys here. Maybe this Sunday, probably not this Sunday. I'm gonna be traveling. I might be back by Sunday evening. I'm not sure what time. Maybe this Sunday. Depends on Grumpy's health too. But definitely next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Really, it depends on my health. Today didn't depend on my health.
Yeah, not
He put
today.
up the Jordan podcast over here.
There it is, Grump. You had your Jordan game, and I'd say you did pretty good, Grumpy. You did pretty good. Thank you so much, Grumpy, for fighting through this show today, Grumpy. Thank you so much. We kept it. We said less than an hour. It took 1 hour and 44. So, thank you, Grumpy. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in, watching. Make sure you leave a like, make sure, for Grumpy's sake, I mean, he just fought through the podcast of his life. Make sure you leave a like. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching the show. We'll be with you guys, if not Sunday, definitely on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, perhaps Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you again, Grumpy. Thank you, Son X. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.